commence. There we go. Right. So welcome everybody to LinkedIn for Breakfast, where we go deep once a week on LinkedIn. The whole purpose of today is for me to kind of riff for sort of 10, 15 minutes on some ideas. I like to kind of come from a bit of a hacky technology lead generation perspective. That's why that's how I show up in the LinkedIn space. And hopefully I can distill some of those ideas from you. Please take what you like. You might not like all of it. I hope you like all of it, but take bits, use it, take your interpretation and try and implement these. These are practical things that I love to share in this session, but I do also leave a good old chunk, usually about 20 minutes for us to be able to have a Q&A. And in that Q&A, it doesn't have to just be Ask Richard. It can be, this is actually what I tried and this is what I've done. And in fact, to so much an extent that we were throwing around so many great ideas last week when we talked about LinkedIn and ChatGPT and how they combine, that we even set up separate feeds within our community where people can share all their prompts. And I thought it was a really great session because everybody enriched it. So that's what we're always looking for from you lovely, lovely LinkedIn for breakfasters. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, my pedigree chums, we're going to be talking about LinkedIn profiles and how you can have an all. Gene, you like that one, didn't you? How you can have an all-star LinkedIn profile, and that's what we want to be able to create, something that gives you a profile that will help your audience to take the next step. Because as a lead generation person, a purist in terms of helping you get your phone ringing and inbox pinging with inquiries, that's the bias that I always take for this. So how can I get people to take action from your profile? And that's what we're going to go over today. Sound good? Give us a thumbs up if you think that looks good. Happy? All right. Okay, fantastic. So let's just share this and welcome you guys along. Come on. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, so step number one, and this is going to be really obvious. And if any of you have checked out the 5-day LinkedIn challenge that we put freely in the school group, the first step one and step two is from that. And just to give you the basis, because it's so important to be able to get that right, that we also repeat that within the challenge. So if you haven't checked that out yet, we'll make sure, Flora, if we can add that link to the 5-day challenge within the follow-up email that we send to people so they can get into that if they want to, please. Thank you. So know your audience, because if you don't know who you're selling to, then how can you actually create a targeted profile to get them to take action? We do not want you to have a glorified CV as your LinkedIn profile. We want a LinkedIn profile that provokes action from the right type of people on your profile and puts off the wrong type of people, not in a bad way, but just in a way that goes, hey, I'm not for you because, I work with these people. For example, I work with coaches, consultants, and marketing agencies to help them to scale their business, right? So if you're not a coach, consultant, or marketing agency, and you are an accountant, for example, that doesn't do any consulting in your accounting practice, then that would proactively put you off, because you would kind of see my profile doesn't do that. And so therefore, it allows you to just be speaking to the right people. And therefore, the inquiries you get, the conversations you have, everything that you turn up to on LinkedIn is attracting the right audience. So just focus on this. So when we start to think about this, I want you to be able to look at, well, look, if I'm going to nail my kind of colors to a mast, then make sure that you know how big your audience size is. And so this is how we can start to use some of these search criteria to actually see that. We can see what your opportunity is. So if I just kind of give you a live demo of this, I'm sure you've, hang on, let's get rid of that. I'm sure you have all seen how to do searches on LinkedIn. And the Bogian or Blolian or whatever it is, it's a mathematician that was from Oxford, turn of the century, Bogian, I think his name was. But anyway, essentially, it's a if this or that, this, not that, is the kind of search criteria. So I might go, for me, coach plus UK plus maybe I want to go for all the speakers who are speakers. This is, by the way, this is a great sort of criteria if you are help people to publish books, for example, because people who like to do speaking want to also have a book, right? So it's sort of, that would be the criteria that you might go to. Or you might think, well, actually, I just want to go and focus on all the people in London because I want to travel to go see those people. so you could go, oh, you could spell London, right? You go travel to see them. But in this digital enabled world, why don't we just go for the whole of the UK, right? So let's go to coach UK plus speaker. This gives you the search criteria of how many people in this audience. If you scroll down and go see all people results, this will then show you how big your market is. So look at that 1.4 million results. That is a lot of people, right? So that is it's an exciting opportunity. Then you can start to see, well, if that's the audience size according to LinkedIn, and of course you can use things like Sales Navigator to get more clever about this, but I'm just doing this as a who are you targeting? I should be empowered to feel like, wow, all right, well, do I really need to go for any, do I really need to worry about going, oh, but I could sell to those people, and oh, I could sell to those people, and oh, I could sell to those people, because you can find yourself in a position where you're like, actually, I'm not quite sure how big the market is, right? So that's where it works. Now, a lot of people go, but how do I search? Because I only work with women, for example. Well, if you only work with women, then what you would do is you would go and put women, right? But you can't do a search for people like this, because gender is not a specific trait that LinkedIn allows you to search, right? On the way that I've just showed you, right? Look, 391 women. So I'm sure, knowing how the demographics work, that more than 391 of those 1 million people were women, right? There's not that many kind of blokes out there. Well, I hope there's not. Anyway, so what you do now is you kind of look at all filters, and you then go and actually look at groups. So we want to look at, we want to not look at, sorry, forget that. You want to look at not people, you want to look at groups. And this is where you start to see, come on, let's just go, women coach, right? Or women's coach. I guess this is probably the name is coming a little bit here, right? So there's now groups that you can start to see, and you can start to see, I think the word woman is actually probably the wrong word, female. Sorry, gang. So female coach is great. So you can kind of see that you start to see groups in here. So actually, when you're thinking about, well, actually, how do I get into genders? You can start to see groups, and then you can start to target groups and scrape groups in terms of your audience size. This is research, right? So you can start to see how good your audience is, right? So first of all, you just need to work out how big my audience is. And there's different ways of doing that. And ultimately, some people might say, well, I only want to work with companies that have over 200 employees. Okay, that's fine. Well, if you're going to that detail, then you need to use a Sales Navigator, because Sales Navigator will then start to help you to see how big that audience size is, right? So then you can start to use, so if I just show you Sales Navigator and look at lead filters, you can then essentially go to company headcount, and you can then say, right, I only want to work with people with 500, 1,000 and 10,000, because I'm an HR consultant and I want to help people who have staff. And so that's the size that I want to work with. But I don't want to work with the mega companies because they will have those in-house. I don't want to work with small companies because they couldn't afford me and it's not worth having them. And so hence why you can start to use filters like that, right? So now that we know, gang, that we're happy with our audience because we feel empowered that we can see our niche, we then see that that's the opportunity. The next stage is that then you filter by how many are first degree connections like that. So you just change this to first degree, and then this becomes your low hanging fruit. These are the people you're already connected with in your industry. And I think why this is important is that this actually then gives you, empowers you to go, well, actually, cool, I can go after those people now because I'm connected with them, but it will also make you go, wow, there's so much of this audience that I'm not yet in. I can just spend my time on LinkedIn getting into those people. And so that's why this kind of model is important for you to think about, because you just want to know how many people you're connected with. The other thing about being in groups, by the way, if you're going down that route, is that you can actually DM people that you're in the same group as without that having to be an in-mail, because if you're in the same group, you can actually then message them. That's a super tip, without having to be connected to them. Cool. So now we feel comfortable that we've got our audience nailed. Let's write our headline for the audience. And this is why it's important for me to show you this, because the headline is such an important piece of real estate on your LinkedIn profile. It shows up everywhere. Let me just look at these 3 people that's trying to connect with me on my LinkedIn. You'll see here, you got Alexander here, you got Pete, and you got Sarah. Okay. And so they are, he's a full stack developer. Well, well, fine, whatever. Senior project manager, AV group. But the one that really stands out is here, Pete, helping creators to effectively market their audio content to their email list. Nice, right? So he is helping me as a creator to effectively market to my audience. Okay, so that seems like it's been written for me. It's not like this bloke's a full stack developer. Okay, Pete is helping me because I am a creator to do it. So he's got my attention, and then his message there kind of backs up what he's saying. So this is why it's really important when it's there. So that's a connection request, right? It also shows up in the DMs, the headline. So it's a part of your profile, but I'm just showing you how this shows up everywhere. And so this is sort of things like helping leaders in the pharma make the industry somewhere we would all love our kids to work in, right? So a really nice headline, really kind of interesting. I'm obviously don't work in the pharma industry, so it's not something that I'd be interested in, but it shows up there, right? So she's outreaching to people in the pharma industry that could catch people's eyes. So you know specifically that if I am who I am, I'm a coach, right? Then she's not right for me. So it proactively puts me off. But at the same time, if I was in pharma, it's like perfect for that. And then the message really kind of backs it up. So really nice. So when I think about your headline, gang, I've got a bit of a formula for you here, right? So this is how we find the perfect LinkedIn headline works, right? So the first step is who and how you help, right? So that's helping coaches, consultants, and course creators. That's who I help. Sprint to $1 million in revenue. That's how I help, right? So that's what I do. $1 million sprint, right? Clues in the title. Why they should listen is your credibility elements. And those credibility elements are so important because you've got to make them relate to why your audience should listen to you, right? So why they should listen, on my point of view, is I'm an award-winning entrepreneur. Cool. All right, fine. Author. Okay, I've published some books and stuff. And BBC Apprentice finalist, which obviously is a BBC show. People kind of know us as a bit of notoriety, right? So you're kind of putting those things that my audience would understand. You can see then above that I've got a photo there with everybody holding my first book up there, and also actually all of those people are apprentice candidates. So it kind of backs it up. So kind of you see how my profile backs up what I'm saying, the things put together in terms of the imagery. You'll also note that my photo is kind of nice, easy. It's not like me down the pub holding a beer. It's not like, me falling out of a nightclub type thing. You've seen a few of those on LinkedIn in terms of people's profile photos. So, it's nice. It works, right? And so that's the formula that you want to work with your headline, because that's what will make you stand out and make people know, okay, that's who you help and how you help and why they should listen. Let me show you Jeremy Cooper, $1 million sprinter. He has who and how you help. So partnering with organizations to create a culture of performance and well-being so they can focus on impacting the world. Nice, right? That's who and how he helps. Why they should listen. Former top 250 UK IT leader, right? And he is outreaching to companies who have IT departments who he helps with. So the nice thing is that his actual credibility piece there backs up his target audience outreach. Works well. You can see their nice headline, nice image, stands out, happy days, right? So that's where you want to really have your headline, because it just shows up everywhere. So important. Cool. So step 3, there's only 4 steps, gang. So let's keep this thing rocking. So step 3, write your about section as a sales letter. Really, really important, right? So we've got the headline, people are interested, they're starting to scroll through your stuff. The about section, and let me just kind of give you a flavor for where the about section is. I know you guys already know this, but just for getting ourselves on the right page, stick yourself into here. And by the way, look at this. So you see the little orange background. I know we did this last time on this, but there's a really cool app. So PF Maker, This costs my favorite number, which is free. So you can go into here and look, you can just chuck your LinkedIn profile into here, and you can then get some nice backgrounds and some weird and wonderful stuff in here. So that's a cool thing for making an orange background or standout background on your profile. Chuck that into the chat, gang, in case anybody didn't see it. Flora, could you just chuck that on the follow-up email for everybody as well, please? Oh, thank you very much. Cool. So that can really help your pop. Why would I say, hang on, I've lost my blooming profile now. Here we go. Why would I say like an orange background or a blue background or something like that? It just means that when you're outreaching and you're seeing people and they're putting connection requests or they're sending DMs to you, let me just kind of show you this. Ah, perfect. Dave Wood's done me a favor there, right? So kind of just visually, Dave's color is just kind of standing out a little bit. Don't get me wrong, these are actually quite nice photos that everybody's got here, but it just brings that out a little bit if you really want to kind of catch people's eyes. Just a thought. No, people might not want to fancy that going with that. Maybe you got a different opinion, but that app helps you to do that. Anywho, so back to the profile. Oh, Elaine, sorry. Let's go back again. Let's get back there. Come on. Right. So you're scrolling down the profile and you get to, we'll come back to the feature section. We get to this about section here. So this is what we mean by the about section. This is what people tend to write as like a career history. And it's like a drab piece of, I used to work here and I did this and it was all lovely. And they're just not doing it. Write it to your audience. Here, are you this? And you are looking to do this. If so, I can help with this, right? Boom, you're in. I'm now writing it as a sales letter. And we do have a template, a swipe file, and a whole load of value for you here that you can take away and work on. So let me just give you the system first so you can get a feel for it. And then you can kind of start to write yours like this, right? So we see this as having kind of six sections. I think it's six. Is it six or is it five? I think it's one of those anyway. So the first bit is that am I for you? So you see that bit where I just highlighted on my profile, like I am, are you this because I do this, right? So it backs up your headline in number one. How you do it, it then just goes a little bit more into your system, right? What your clients think is then how you then, some testimonials maybe from your clients, right? So am I for you? How do I do it? What do my clients think? This is me actually giving you a fantastic template here, gang, for a sales letter, regardless of if it's your LinkedIn about section or if it's an outreach or if it's a landing page or if it's some other marketing. It's a really lovely little model, right, for you. And then it was 5. Look at that. Sorry, I spoiled the punchline. So 5 is my journey. So just a little snippet of how you got to where you are and what about your journey. It's not like from A to Z here, gang. It's just highlights of your journey that were specific to the aha moments that you had that meant that you gave that system or you're working with those people, right? So that's the journey bit. And the last bit is the call to action, which is so important. It's the next bit is to get them away into taking action, going into the next stage, right? That's the call to action piece, okay? So what we say to you, gang, right? Here we go. There's the logo that everybody loves. Ooh, AI is write out using the template I'm going to give you guys, just brain dump that sales letter. Then take it and let ChatGPT tart it up for you. So what I mean by this is here, oh, hang on, let me just go back to my presentation because I need to get the link. Here, gang, is where we've discussed this before about sections in the LinkedIn for Breakfast group. And we've got a lovely conversation here where people were sharing it. Let me just show you this. And this is where the swipe file is for you, gang. So I'm going to chuck this into the chat now. I'm going to show you this. Again, we'll obviously loop back this link to everybody on the follow-up, but that link will take you directly to our LinkedIn for Breakfast group. If you're not in this LinkedIn for Breakfast group, where have you been, gang? We've got 550 members, and it's just a free group where we share madness like you'll see today. And if I just paste that in, it will take you to this feed. So share your LinkedIn about section here. So we're watching people, letting people share. So after this call, once you've done this, share it in here. I'm happy to give you my thoughts and opinions on this. And you can see the swipe file is here that you can download. And then also, this is people in here. So the top one is an example of my one, if you wanted to grab that. And then you've got Tony, he did his on here. Laura did hers on here. You know, Robert did his on here, and we're all giving feedback and stuff. So continue the conversation and comment yours below when you've done this. The swipe file looks like this. So you get this kind of about stage. Actually, that's weird. It's all corrupt. Let me just click on the one actually in here. Here we go. That's better. Okay, cool. So swipe files like this. Download it, make a copy of it, keep it. Do whatever, feed it to the dog. And in here gives you a little bit more about am I for you? How do you do it? What do my clients think? Gives you all this information. Then gives examples of my bit, right? So this is what we do here. So this is how I then wrote this out, right? What do my clients think, etc. My journey, boom, 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 and then kind of connect with me. Here's the ways, right? And then there's if you want to then hand write it or kind of type it in, there's a nice bit there you can kind of hand write it for you. So that's the swipe file for you. But I'm saying here, once you've written the above, copy and paste it into ChatGPT with the following prompt. Please rewrite this using the same title sections, but under 300 words, and then add your text, right? So I would just be simply going this. So I go to ChatGPT. I would send, please rewrite this. Oh, hello, that's not going to work. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Come on. Oh, God, come on. Please. Right. Do you remember at the start of ChatGPT that nobody could ever do a demo because everybody got kicked out? I'm glad they solved that one. That was always a heart attack every time you demoed it. Right. So what I would do here, I'm not sure why that didn't copy. Let's just try and copy it. Perfect. Okay, good stuff. So you would copy this prompt into ChatGPT. You would then go and take your homework because you've been very good and you've written it all out first, because I always find you don't want to worry about word count when you're writing. You just want to brain dump into it. You don't even need to worry about it making too much sense. Just get the bare bones down. Then you'd go to the section that you had written out. So for example, this is my example I'm giving to you. So this is the example that we'll just dump into there. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. I'll press copy like this. I'll go to ChatGPT and then I just paste it into there, press send, and then let it work its madness. And then from there, you can see here, we've got a nice, it's giving a nice kind of flavor for this. And as someone that struggles with dyslexia of all varieties, this is a godsend because at least it's spelt right? So cool. And why am I saying 350 words? Because that's the limit that LinkedIn allows you to put into the about page, right? So cool. So grab that swipe file from that download. Again, we'll get it to you. Do that exercise. Put that into the group because we would then love to see that. We can give you any further feedback on it. Chuck it onto your LinkedIn profile. Job done. Also, think about, could it become your About Us page? Could it become a blog? Could you send it as an email tomorrow? Why not? So it becomes like a really nice asset. Like that, gang? Like that? Do you like that? Cool. As I said, we got one more tip for you today. And then I would love to hear your thoughts, gang. So step 4 is features into call to actions and credibility. Now, LinkedIn allows you to have five featured posts on their profile that just sit here, look featured. And you get, they're not all born equal, right? So you got 3 and then you got the other 2, right? So the point of this is that you want to make sure that the 3 that are to view straight away are the most important, then you put the other ones. So what I do is I would have important pieces such as bit of credibility and call to action. So one would be subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter, as you can see here, right? Another one is my VSL, so my virtual sales letter, which is an email, a video, 5-minute video introducing about it. This one is about another video that I did, but it's a bit of a kind of, don't do this. It's very appealing to my audience. And then I've got some credibility, like someone doing 46K's worth of sale or 15K's worth of sales in a week. I'm now having to register with VAT. That was one of our clients. So it's like a nice credibility item. So use this featured section and make sure that you're using credibility and call to actions there, because again, we want to gather leads. So if then someone presses on this one, they're going to be going to a post here. This post then gives them a real feel for what we do. It has a click on this link, which is schedule a demo. And it has my 5-minute VSL on there, which basically pitches them with the offer that we're going to help them to scale to $1 million revenue using our 3-step system. Happy days, right? And so if they click on that, it would go to a demo, job done. I'm now booking calls off the back of it. So just make sure that you can actually siphon your organic traffic that's hitting your LinkedIn profile, because people do look at your profile. For example, you can see this data, right? So this is why this is an important activity. So if we go analytics here, look, 1,602 profile views. So it's kind of important, isn't it? It's kind of important. Your numbers might be far better than that. If I told you you had 1,600 people going to your website page, landing page, that had broken links and wasn't right and wasn't set up properly, you'd probably get it sorted. So get your LinkedIn profile sorted. Wicked. Right. That takes us to the halfway point, or half an hour in. I promise that we'll be done kind of quarter 2, 10:02-ish if you guys really love it. So that's your all-star profile from a lead generator's point of view. Just before I open the floor up for conversation, I just want to open my diary up to you for conversation. And what I mean by that is that we run a strategy session. Or I run a strategy session. It's just with me. I'm not going to fob you off from anybody else. And you and I are going to spend 45 minutes together looking at your business, where you are now, where you might want to be in 12 months' time, and the process that I suggest to go there, not just through LinkedIn, but what are you using LinkedIn to drive people to? For example, a VSL or a weekly moment like this. Where do you take them from there? What meetings do you have? And what are you selling them? And who are you selling that to? And in that time, we'll be able to draw out all those different designs. I'll show you a cool funnel. And it normally gets quite messy on a blackboard, and I'm doing lots of doodles and stuff, which people will probably back me up for doing that. So if you do want to do that, then let me give you my diary quickly. If I just quickly show you this, and then I'm looking for some questions. So on my website, $1 Million Sprint, you've got this link at the top called free strategy session. And below here, it will pop up in a second, is our Calendly thing. So just jump on there. If I just press copy and just stick that into the chat now, you can see that. Can we see that on the chat? Yeah, that is to everybody. Yeah, cool, great. So see there's some times available there. Just click on them and allow yourself to just jump on one of those times. You can actually see that there's not that many available actually, gang. Crikey, look at that. Yeah, so we are one left this week, and then one on Monday, one on Tuesday. So they are limited. So please do take one on there. Looking forward to spending some time with you. Wicked. So into the room, gang. Who wants to share? Who's got a thought? Who's got a question? Into the room. Dr. Lizzie. Great to see you. Over to you.
Thanks. No, awesome, as always. I think one question I have is, and this is a personal thing for me, I've got a resilient scorecard, like a lead magnet, which is just working really well. So my question is, at the moment, it's in my features, but I do see people sometimes on their profile, they've got a click on their main sort of banner. So just your thoughts on that. And if so, if it should be in the banner, how do we do that?
Click on their banner?
Somehow it's sort of, I've seen that sort of like, or maybe it's just in their banner rather than clicking on it. But
I don't think you can. Actually, I mean, I would be I'm like 90% confident, but like everything in life, I can never be 100% confident. So let's try and edit this banner then. Oh, so that's the banner. Lots of people will put the text like click here, but I don't know of anywhere in here. So you got your website links, which comes under the profile. But I don't know of anywhere that you can actually add a link.
You can't do it.
Okay, maybe they've put a sort of like it's a link on there, but obviously you can't click on it.
Yeah, I just think that's badly designed. What I would do if you really wanted to do that is do a download or do my scorecard, link in profile, and maybe do like a big like arrow down, because your profile link will always be below.
I've seen like arrow down, but actually they're actually doing it to their about, not to their
okay. So link in profile. Also in the about section, you can put links in there, but they're not hyperlinks, so they're not clickable links. If I go down here, you'll see here like you can't click on it, but people are capable of copy and pasting, right? So put in there.
So do you think, I mean, at the moment, mine's just in the features and you can obviously clearly click on it and it's all there. Do you think that's the best place to put it?
Yeah, I mean, you could do, this is maybe something that I've been thinking about, is sticking a link tree into the profile link. So if I sort of show, so on my LinkedIn, it's like $1 million sprint link there, because generally my landing page is all about pushing people to different.
Oh, so you can have a link there then?
Yeah, here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where you have a link. Now you could put a link tree in there. So if I kind of show you my Twitter, for example, where's my Twitter? Where's my Twittering? There you go. So my Twitter, we use Linktree, and so that's because we're pushing people to different call to action assets such as VSL, etc. Now, I always talk about the power of one. Twitter is not my platform. LinkedIn is the place where I show up. But like probably all you guys, you've probably got an account, and I duplicate some content on there. So the link here is a link tree. Now, Linktree costs my favorite number, which is free. And so you can have all this going on. And, I can say, look, hey, read my thesis, have a look at this training, have a strategy session with me, attend a LinkedIn for breakfast training, etc. Boom, 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 right? Cool. And so join the community. So all of those are kind of my call to action. It's not like buy my stuff, it's my call to action stuff. And then if people really want to, they can jump onto my strategy session. Cool. Now, and there you go, bam, straight in. So you can kind of do that link tree.
How do you get the link in the bit of your profile then? In the first screen where it says your name and what you do?
Yeah, so just in here, just edit your contact info, scroll down, and it will be here, website.
Okay.
Morning.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Link text. Okay. Thank you very much. That's what I needed to know.
Wicked. All right.
Yeah.
No worries. Good stuff.
Okay.
Good to see you. Back into the room then, gang. Thoughts, questions, support, help. Okay, Malcolm. Good to see you, Malcolm.
Hi, sorry I joined a little bit late, so you may have already covered this. My apologies if you had. I'm just wondering from an individual point of view, my profile at the moment, I've got the open to work banner on my profile picture. I was just wondering what people's thoughts were about that, whether or not that is a good idea or not a good idea, particularly as at the moment in the UK, employment is difficult to get if you're not a full-time member of an organization. So having that up there a while may be a good thing, may not. I just wonder what your thoughts were.
What are you trying to achieve with your profile? Are you trying to get a job, or are you trying to get contract work, or are you trying to get clients as a small business?
Basically contract work.
Contract work. Okay. I think potentially contracting could work. I mean, from my perspective, and 99% of the people in here, it's all about growing a business, small business. So that's kind of what my entire tips are around: how to scale a business and get clients. So for those type of people, no, definitely not. It's not great for branding. It's kind of just not the right use. If you are a contractor, and it's very clear, I do contract work, I take on these different projects for these type of clients, and I am open to work. Yeah, cool, that could work. If you are a member of staff and you are looking for a job, then yeah, cool, that would also work. But if you're a small business, no, it's not quite the right look.
Thank you.
No worries. All right, good to see you, mate. Mitali.
Morning, Richard.
morning.
Okay. Just something that you said, but I just wasn't sure if I got it right. So, well, I know with first connections, you can DM them, but with second connections, you can't, and you have to email them, or you send them a connection request, and if they accept it, then you can DM them. You said something about if you're in the same group, you bypass that. How does that work? Like, does that mean if you're in the same group, the software automatically knows that, and therefore when you click on message, it looks like it's a first connection and you send them a DM like normal? How does that look?
Yeah. Now let me just, I'm hoping they haven't changed the algorithm since I'm doing that. And let's have a look. So if I go into a group, let's just search. I think groups are featured at the bottom. Groups, perfect. And I don't know, go into here. So I should be able to now message people in here. So let's just look at group members in here. I don't want to look at show all. Okay. And here we go. So look, third degree, second degree, third degree, message. And then it goes straight in, bam, job done.
So okay. So you find them in the group, and then you go to, and then message, and then it goes straight into DM.
Yeah,
okay, great.
And I think I might be able to go. Let's see if I can do coach as a search. Yeah, look at that. So this is a load of my clients there. So now I can go down and find, look, second degree coach Nick here. Bam. So not only have I been able to find people in the group and I can go out to them, but I also can message them.
That's great. That's really, really cool. Thank you.
So I'd hit it as a double whammy though. So I'd definitely be doing a connection request. But when you hit your 100 a day, 20 a day limit, i.e. 100 a week, that kind of LinkedIn kind of holds out for you, then this is the kind of tactics you can use.
Thank you.
Ninja, naughty little lead genner. Lovely, good. Joanna, over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is probably something that you talked about in previous sessions, but so the main part of my business is helping busy professionals get their lives back so they can have guilt-free time for themselves. And yeah. I also I do some public speaking coaching as well. That was when I first started my business. That's what I was doing full time because I've been a speaker for 25 years and so on. I always hesitate to put both things on my profile, and then sometimes I hesitate to just put one because it feels like, am I missing out on potential work, etc., etc. But although both of them are, busy professionals, they're accountants, they're lawyers, they're people, they're geeks who speak or that sort of thing. But I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on having the two aspects on a profile. Does that confuse things? Do I just need to pull the plug and just concentrate on one, or any other thoughts you might have?
So I'm a huge believer in the book, The One Thing. It kind of, saved my kind of entrepreneurial career at one point because I was running 5 businesses and being pulled in different directions. And I actually do one of these presentations just on the book, The One Thing, because I just think it's so good. And it opens up almost on the first page with the Russian proverb, which is, if you try and catch 2 rabbits, you get none. And I love that, particularly as a lead generator, because you're trying to catch leads, it kind of has that thing. And just, there is so much work in both of those niches that you just put out, that if you just focused on one, you would be able to get more. And it's hard. I know it's hard. It genuinely it is, because you're almost like saying that you love this child instead of that child, right? And that's fine. But it's not about actually how you feel. It's about how the people see you. And so people know me for the people that I help and what I do. And so I'm very clear on that, and the right type of people are in this room. you want to create rooms for the right type of people so you can have the right type of conversations, and hyper niche stuff works far better. So that is, you know, that's always going to be my support. Now, I like the kind of thing. One of my good friends, Amanda Watts, she has this saying that says, niche your marketing, not your business, i.e. your LinkedIn outreach campaign, your LinkedIn profile, everything can be focused on one of those. But if someone wants some speaker training, then sell them stuff, right? So, you know, don't not sell it. But outwardly market to one of those, because you would be able to go far deeper and better because of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've had somebody recently come to me for public speaking coaching, and I'm very conscious that my website doesn't talk about that anymore. LinkedIn doesn't really talk about that, but I've got a lot of experience doing it. So that, I think that's really where the question came from. If they went onto my LinkedIn profile, they wouldn't
send them a PDF. Say, hey, yeah, no problem. Here's my public speaking.
Yeah,
and just flick them a PDF. Yeah.
Tip top. Thank you so much.
I love it. Tip top. Fantastic.
Tip top.
Good to see you. Laura, over to you.
Good morning. As
Morning.
usual, I have a slightly different perspective, take on something.
I love that. Just before, because actually Laura's always got a really good take on things, gang. So do stick around for this. But because I just noticed it's 1:45, if you are shooting, which, you know, no problem at all, we'll be closing in 5 minutes. But if you are going beforehand, lovely to see you. Let me just quickly just show you one more time. I would love to spend some time with you to go through these sort of things. Thank you for the people that have already booked in, because my phone rings, phone buzzes basically in my pocket as it happens. So thank you for everybody there. This is the page on here. I'm just going to put it into the chat because there's been some lovely questions and conversation in this chat. So I'm going to share it in there one more time. Jump on there, book one of those spaces now. I can see that they're already starting to go, and let's have a meeting. Let's have a catch up on that front. Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Okay, over to Laura.
Okay, so firstly, to John asking the question about hi, hello, which is what I'm about to talk about. You just have to create one. It's free. So as I know, Richard, you love
just for context, because I'm not across.
So no. So it's fine. It's just if John had to skip off, I will now tell you what I'm talking about. So you were talking about using Linktree.
Yes.
As an alternative, I use hi, hello as a digital business card. But what it allows you to do is have a QR code so that you can add all your information in there. It's free. So I have my picture. I pick the color that matches my branding. I then have my title. So what I was thinking is you put in your QR code in your banner of your LinkedIn. So therefore, and then literally somebody can scan it with their phone. Yes, granted, they have to do it on, or they also do have the link, which you could also then put in your the link instead of your website. But what it allows you to do is, so I've got my 3B lead magnet. I've got my TED talk there. I've got my Calendly link. I've got obviously my website. So yeah, and I use it because I can then use that QR code then, for example, if I'm doing a workshop and it's on the screen, people can then scan it. Again, they're getting all the same consistent information. So it's only one thing I'm doing. Whereas I struggled a bit with Linktree because if I was doing a workshop, it was a lot harder for them to be able to download the information. But as I said, right, the account that's free, you can get lots of information from it. So
nice. I love the idea of having it as your virtual background on Zoom as well. So it could just be floating here with me, and then everybody could be scanning it and going directly to the links. Really cool. Thank you, Laura. Ninja. Right. So I'll stick the one in here into the chat as well, just for the page that I'm looking at now. And Flora, could you grab those as well and send that out to everybody on the email? Fabulous. So cool, guys. I'll tell you what, I'll take one more question. If there is one, or one more comment, or one more share, or we'll close the meeting.
Hi. Jason here. I put in another
Jason.
link in there as well. You can use blink.me, which is your digital business card. You use it in exactly the same way. But this is globally recognized, and a lot of people use that. So I just put the link up there. So that might be useful as well as.
Fantastic. They're all running in now because Louise is like, I use Vice. So there's a few of these that are going down. So this is wicked. Okay, cool. Well, look, we'll gather those up and flick them out to everybody. Look, gang, that's been LinkedIn for breakfast. Thank you all for another super session. Give yourselves all a round of applause. Well done, everybody. I'll see you guys on a call one-to-one with me if you're jumping into the $1 Million Sprinters. I will see you at 10 o'clock for our deep dive session to continue the action. If you're doing none of that, I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Big love. Take care. And I think I'm Dave. You're sticking around, so stay on, Dave. Right. Bye, gang. Bye.